John Beck and Jonny Harline.
And Preston.
And Preston as well.
And Preston Beck as well.
That's true. Welcome to the set, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
It's game day for BYU and Utah for the first time in over 2 years. I think 2 years, 2 months, and 29 days. What does this game and this setup mean to you? We'll start with you, John.
I think it's huge. It has a feel to it. There's just so much storyline. There's so much drama. And there's excitement. I can't tell you how many people were last night texting me being like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm a player. I can barely sleep. And these are fans. So, you know, you can't ask for a better atmosphere than we're going to see today. And when this stadium starts to fill with red and blue, it's going to be awesome.
What do you think, Johnny?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you know, you think about just the rivalry and the tension with the fans, players, coaches, everything, and people just so pumped up for it. And it's not something, I don't know if it's ever happened before that they're actually playing in a bowl game. You know, it's usually, for a long time, it was the last game of the season, and then you have your bowl. But now it's like the grand finale. So, and like on a neutral site. So it's going to be different, but the same.
Let's relive the greatest moment between you two. It happened at Rice Cycle Stadium in Salt Lake City, but I want you to listen to this call from James Bates on the mountain, and then I want to talk about the emotions that come from that as you hear it one more time with us. Let's roll that play.
Final play of the game, barring a penalty, all the time in the world for Beck. Can anybody get open for him? He'll roll right, lets it go, finds his guy, touchdown! Jonny Harline comes all the way across the field. Beck finds him, and it's a touchdown, and BYU swarms the field. They win it.
Okay, James Bates is freaking out, Jonny Harline. What are you thinking about as you listen to that one more time?
I always just try to remember, you know, what it was like for me, you know, inside my helmet and kind of my view. And I just remember, you know, the ball, I remember I kind of snuck over to that side, and everyone started, you know, flowing the other direction, which, you know, once it's a scramble drill, that's what you're supposed to do. And I kind of hung back behind, and I was like, you know, I'm wide open over here. If John sees me, then he can chuck it over here. And
did you wave at all? Did you like try and get his attention?
Yeah. I was waving like crazy over there.
Did you see him?
I mean, yeah. As I scrambled, I first had to make sure that I had space to run. And it was crazy how I just saw this wave of people moving with me and this lone white jersey just hanging back there. And the thought was in my head, like, this entire wave's going to keep going, and he's going to be standing there. And it's funny because as you guys were playing it, I obviously don't have a headset on, so I just relived it through my own face mask. And it's funny that Jonny went back to that same thing. We got to live it inside of ourselves, and that view is obviously the best and most exciting one.
So you scrambled to your right in an attempt to maybe give a little more space?
That was all. I was trying to buy time.
Yeah.
As I moved left, then as their linebacker came at me, I knew I needed to buy more time. And you know, as you scramble and as you're running, you kind of have this sixth sense to feel things. And I was trying to feel my environment around me, feel if I was going to have to have pressure to get the ball off. And then you could see that whole wave of defenders and my own guys moving. And then there's Jonny. And to be honest, I didn't know it was Jonny until I started to throw the ball. Then I realized. But the thing that a lot of people don't know that was pretty cool was, and I'm not sure if the TV catches this, as we walked onto the field after our little timeout on the sideline, Jonny walked up to me and said, hey, like tell me what you're thinking. And I'm like, all right, well, if they blitz us, I'm going to come to you. But if they drop everybody back, just like be moving, find a way to get open. And that's literally, it was almost like a schoolyard thing of just, hey, try to get open, and if I can find you, I'll find you. And it worked.
What was the play call? Did you have a specific play call, or just go down there, man, I'll find you?
It was
59.
ace flip 59. That was the play call. Yeah. And, you know,
I remember just telling you, like, look, if you're in trouble, just throw it up to me.
I mean,
you'd had a decent game up to that point.
Yeah.
I think we were literally the last two people that spoke to each other before then, all right, it's time to snap the ball type thing. And, you know, we made it pretty cool.
Okay, now that we've established the greatest moment in the rivalry, what's the second best memory you both have from the BYU-Utah rivalry? This might take a second.
Oh, besides other plays that game, I would, for sure for me, Luke Staley running down the sideline. I was on my recruiting trip from I was up at Rick's College that season, and so I came down for that game, and I'm like the third row, 50-yard line. And just seeing, you know, that last drive, and then I loved watching Luke Staley. Such a explosive, fun player to watch, and see him just take off down the sideline. And I just remember from my view there at down close to the field and kind of looking up and just the whole stadium just going crazy like that. And I was like, man, that would be like, what a feeling. How awesome would that be? And, for us, it kind of happened the opposite, where the whole stadium was like, but that was cool too.
It was like everyone screamed for different reasons.
Yeah.
That happens. What's second best for you?
I think it's hilarious what Max said. I love seeing his little interview and just being like, tell him, Max. And because he's a good friend of mine and I can forever joke about that with him, that's obviously funny. But, what was cool for me was in that very same game, that 06 game, I had some cool moments with Eric Weddle. I had a ball that I tossed up to Jonny that he one-handed on the sideline and came down, and it was going to review. And me and Eric were standing next to each other just having a normal conversation. Like, Eric's like, I swear he didn't get in. I'm like, no, you know what, dude? Like, he got it. Like, we're just talking. And then at the end of the game, Eric and I got to walk across the field together, kind of having a conversation. And, to me, that was awesome because, football. Yeah, Eric Weddle. He knows Eric because he and Eric's son play on the same football team.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So, it was cool for me, though. Like, football is a game. There's all this emotion. But yet you can just have this conversation between two competitors on teams that really dislike each other. We're both giving our best effort. But at the same time, it's just like we're talking like we're out kids on the street, right? And to me, that's the fun part of football.
I agree with you as well. I mean, that's just a good point to bring up because, all this competitiveness and kind of even the hate of the teams towards each other, after a while you kind of realize it brings out, you wouldn't be the player you are unless you were playing these guys that you really, really want to beat and you don't like them. And so at a certain point you kind of realize you have this, this respect back and forth because, it's helped you become better. So I kind of, that's something I kind of realized more lately, not so much when I was playing, but, I think that's a cool story to bring up.
John Beck and Jonny Harline with us on BYU Sports Nation Bowl Game Day edition from Sam Boyd Stadium. We're about 3 hours away from BYU and Utah kicking off on December 19th, 24th annual Las Vegas Bowl. With everything that's gone into the preparation for this game, with all the fluctuating between the coaching search and is Kyle Whittingham a candidate and he's going to be on the other sideline and his Bronco has a chance to win his 100th game. I mean, is this the biggest BYU-Utah game ever?
It does have a lot going into it. For the game that me and Jonny played in our senior year and even our junior year, it was just a matter of two teams battling in a conference. And we had lost 4 in a row to them. We had an overtime loss in 05, and that's what it kind of meant for us, and also capping off a big season. That was kind of the storyline of that game. And it made it cool to win. But, man, I just can't think of a game like this that I've been alive for. In this BYU-Utah game where there's just so much storyline. I mean, Bronco's done so much for the program, and now he's stepping away. But yet it's to get win 100. And there's been this huge rivalry that's gone back and forth. And for us, BYU, I mean, Utah has kind of owned us over the last 12 games, aside from, some miracle plays. So there's a lot for us as BYU fans, as BYU players in this game. And also, no matter what Utah says, like, there's a lot on it for them, too. Their punter can say whatever the crap he wants. Their fans can act like it's not a big deal. Trust me, there's going to be a ton of Utah fans watching this game on TV and a ton of fans in the stadium that they want it. They want it bad.
But their rival is Colorado, John.
Yeah, no. That's the Pac-12 network that's trying to make that a rivalry.
Jonny, when you look at this game, what matchups stick out to you that you're going to be watching in this?
Well, I was talking with John just over here off to the side before we came on, and to me, it's, BYU, I think, and I heard you guys saying running the ball, I think is going to be tough. Utah just traditionally has a tough run defense, and they even our season, we had a great offense with run, pass, and everything, and we struggled running the ball. So to really score points, BYU's receivers and the quarterback receiver connection is going to have to be very precise. Guys are going to have to make plays because Utah will just get up there and match up on you and one-on-one, and they get in that pretty tight coverage. You've got to have precision passing and guys with the hands to go out there and make catches, make plays that are not necessarily that easy. You've got to be able to perform under a difficult circumstance. And so that's what I'm looking at. Guys, those receivers just got to make plays.
Jonny obviously is going with the receivers, and like you said, we talked about that. It's clear headline. Can they get past the initial man press coverage of those Utah defensive backs? What other matchups are you looking for today?
I just think the offense is a unit. Jonny touched on it a little bit. I think Utah has had its struggles offensively when they lost their running back, and even when Covey got injured. Those guys were major playmakers for them. And I just kind of think as a unit, like, do I think our team needs to go out and run the ball for 100 yards to get a W? I don't. But do I think they need to find a way to get some running yards? Most definitely. You can't just have no running game and expect to just go out there and have all the other facets of your game work. Like, it may not be balanced. We may not have a great running game, but we're still going to hand the ball off. So my whole thing is just the offense as a whole. There's going to be some drives we probably go 3 and out. There's going to be some quarters where we might sputter. I said this to a few fans and friends of mine the other night. I said, listen, look at the BYU-Utah game over the last, however we want to say, 10 years. There's never been just a super dominating game where the offense has come out, and even in the games where me and Max were able to win, we had cold quarters that were lulls. We just couldn't get things going. So you know what? Utah's a good defense. They've done traditionally well against BYU. It's going to happen today. My whole thing is, as an offensive unit, hey, if the second quarter goes for crap, who cares? Like, it's football. That happens. You do not need 4 good quarters to win a football game. Just keep moving, stay positive, and as a unit, stay together. So the thing I want to watch is, hey, if there is a bad quarter, if it's the second quarter, how do they then respond to open up the next half? That's my thing. I just want to see this offensive unit, when it doesn't go well, which it's probably going to have a bit of that, there's ebbs and flows, just respond. And they've done that all year, really. I'm excited because of this team. They have responded all year long when they needed to. So I expect when they need to respond today on this biggest stage against their rival, I think, of course, they're going to do it. And that's why I'm so excited for the game.
John Beck and Jonny Harline.